Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. In this video I'm introducing a new topic, how to work with dreams, how to gain control over your dreams in such a way that through dreaming you can open up a whole new world of experiences for yourself, which will further enrich your life and in particular your spiritual life. Now when you hear me talking about this topic of gaining control of one's dreams, the first thing you probably thought of straight away, if you've come across anything on this topic before, is lucid dreaming. Yes, this has to do with that. However, lucid dreaming is quite an advanced practice, which can take a long time to master. But fortunately, there's lots of other ways that you can work with your dreams in order to derive benefits. And when you can start to gain control over your dreams in such a way, even to a lesser extent than full-on lucid dreaming, you can really start to make your dreams more than something that's just random. And you can use the dream state, take advantage of the dream state that you're in every night in order to engage in visionary work, in order to explore spiritual realms and the realms of the unconscious, and bring back knowledge and experience that you wouldn't be able to gain in physical life. So the topic of the dream world has come up again recently in popular culture with the release of the Sandman series on Netflix. And as with a lot of TV shows or movies that are influenced to a greater or lesser extent by esoteric literature, there are little kernels of truth about what the spiritual world, the world of dreams, can really be like. And when you can determine what happens in your dreams, you can go on all kinds of adventures. You can visit other worlds, you can visit the astral plane, you can visit temples or other sacred sites. You can commune with certain entities that impart wisdom on you. You can undergo initiations, all sorts of things, learn lessons, bring those back to the waking world with you. And when you're in a sleeping state, you're particularly open to and susceptible to incoming new information, which doesn't get filtered out by the rational mind as easily. So you're really able to get some really golden stuff if you can manage to remember what transpires in your dreams. As an example, the periodic table of the elements came from a dream. So when you know how to work with dreams and you know how to remember dreams, obtain knowledge from dreams, and know how to look for knowledge in dreams, you can really unlock some powerful knowledge. And there is much to see and do in the dream world that is of great benefit to us in the waking world, particularly if we're on a spiritual path. In many ways, the dream world is almost custom made for spiritual experience because it's a world of symbol, and it's a very subtle world. It's a world that is not bound by the suffocating limitations of physical existence. You can fly, you can move things with your mind, you can exercise all of the cities with ease, with just a little bit of consciousness. And if you can learn to engage in spiritual practices such as meditation while in a dream, the fruits of those practices will be exponentially greater than if you did the same practice in the physical world. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. Let's go back to basics. And let's go back to complete basics. Let's just think about the phenomenon of dreaming for a moment and just how amazing it really is. We spend a third of our lives asleep, if we're sleeping properly, that is, which is not a given in this day and age. But if we get our 8 hours sleep a night, that is a third of our life that we spend dreaming. Whether we remember it or not, we have dreams at night. And we have experiences in those dreams. And we are immersed in a whole other sensorial reality that is very, very similar in terms of how our mind perceives that to this world in terms of how real it feels. And if we're going to go off the idea that reality is really nothing more than perception, then who's to say that dreams don't have a kind of reality to them that can rival that of waking life? If the things we learn and the things we do in dreams can affect us even in our waking life, then perhaps we shouldn't just dismiss them as nighttime hallucinations. Perhaps when we walk in the world of dreams, that is a part of our path as well, and that is a part of our life. That is our second life that we should treat with the respect and the seriousness that it deserves, and not waste the potential that those nighttime hours hold. You know, there are certain people, particularly those of a more materialistic, skeptical mindset, who think that dreams are just random. They're meaningless. That is basically just our brains processing random information in a random fashion that has no meaning whatsoever. And sure, you might say that dreams have no logical continuity to them in the way that we think is important, but they certainly do have an order to them, and there certainly is a reason for every dream. It is not just some random process. We dream what we dream because our subconscious mind needs to process information that it hasn't had a chance to process in waking life. And yet there's still some lesson to be learnt from certain things that are on our mind. There's a certain type of knowledge to distill from those thoughts, from those ideas that we have encountered. And dreaming allows us to do that. Through dreams and through understanding our dreams, we are able to understand ourselves, and we are able to better grow as individuals and process the things that we need to process to grow. Because if we can't process things, whether that is simply reflecting on the day or in the form of dreams, it's really bad for our mental health. We can't move forward. We feel stuck. We feel like there's something unresolved at a deep level. So when we know how to really navigate our dreams well, we can really have a wholeness of spirit. We can really have a wholeness of soul and really come to know ourselves in a deep way and really transform in a deep way. And how incredible it is that we can have transformational experiences while we sleep. Isn't that incredible? While your body is sound asleep, your head has hit the pillow, a new journey begins. Just incredible. You know, when you have really vivid dreams, you meet entities from other planes of existence. You visit other planes of existence. You do all of these amazing things, and perhaps you don't believe that those beings are real beings or those places are real places. Perhaps you think that it is just a projection of your own psyche. But that's okay. Whatever the case is, there are certain archetypes, certain principles which are trying to reach out to you and communicate to you. Your unconscious is trying to give you a message. The universe is trying to give you a message, one way or the other. And the way that it does that is through what you dream. And don't take for granted that the experiences that you have in your dreams are unimportant. Studies have shown that you can learn how to do complex tasks such as flying an aeroplane simply by learning how to use a flight simulator and never ever stepping foot inside a real cockpit before you learn that skill. And dreams are even more immersive than even the most realistic simulation that we have today. So make no mistake, if you have an initiation in your dream, that can affect how initiated you are in waking life. If you learn a lesson from this or that being, say a master for example, in a dream, then you really have learnt that lesson. And you can apply the wisdom of that lesson in a waking life to great effect. So this all sounds really good, but where do we even start? How can we even begin to reach a point where we are in control of our dreams? Because you think of how dreams occur organically, we're absolutely not in control. The same way we're not in control of our ego or our thoughts in waking life, we are not even in control of our thoughts in a dream. Perhaps even less so, because we are in an unconscious state. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can decide when you remember your dreams, you can decide what to dream, you can decide what you are going to do in a dream. The very first step in trying to exercise control over your dreams and open up this whole new wonderful world is just remembering what you dreamt the night before. And then once you have started to remember your dreams again, maybe then you can start to do practices where you, before you go to bed, you think a silent intent of what you want to dream about that night. Perhaps you want to visit the temple or the spiritual retreat of a master in the astral, or visit another planet. Whatever it is, formulate that intent as you're going to sleep, and you'll find that you can dream of the place or the person that you want to dream of and have an interaction. And then the next stage after that is when you are able to use your volition in a dream. Irrespective of whether or not it's a dream that you have chosen, you are able to change the dream story by making a choice. Usually you can't do this. You think of, say, the classic nightmare where you try and run away but you can't, you're paralyzed in one spot, where you have zero control over the dream environment. But when you reach this stage of control over your dreams, you can actually make choices that affect how the dream develops one way or the other. The very next stage, the gold standard of control over your dreams, is what is called lucid dreaming, or sometimes known as dream yoga. This is where you wake up inside the dream. This is where you suddenly realize, this is a dream, I can do what I want. And you can completely manipulate the dream world in any way that you want. You become like Neo in the Matrix. You can fly around from place to place. You can defy the laws of physics. You can perform miracles. And when you reach that stage, you can really have a lot of fun. But it's very hard to reach. And once you do reach it, it's very hard to maintain, because as soon as your mind starts to wake up, usually your body wants to wake up as well. But such things are possible with a lot of practice. So start from step 1 and work your way up. Don't deprive yourself of sleep. Don't have such an active mind at night that you can't go to sleep, or that you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's going to sabotage you in your waking life. But there are practices that you can start to do. If you want to start to remember your dreams, then before you go to sleep each night, simply repeat the thought, the affirmation in your mind. I will remember my dreams tonight. I will remember my dreams. When I wake, I will remember my dreams. And again, don't think so much that you can't actually fall asleep, but just have that as the last thing that you think of as you're drifting off to sleep. Make sure that it's embedded in your consciousness deeply as it can be, and then let it go and just drift off to sleep. And allow that embedded thought to bear its fruits. And you will find that you have a dream that is more vivid than usual, and when you wake up, it'll be much easier for you to remember the contents of that dream. But now this is key. When you first wake up, you need to start reminding yourself of what you dreamt immediately before. If you don't then save the data, as it were, to a USB, the USB of your conscious mind, of your long-term memory, then that data will be lost. This is a very precarious point in the dream remembrance practice, because it can just evaporate if you're not careful. The memory can just evaporate once you are shocked into a different state of consciousness. So really exert your effort to capture and go over the dream, and then you'll find that as you stir, as you wake, it's still fresh in your mind. And then, also important to stop yourself from forgetting the dream, is after having taken it with you into the waking world, go and write it down in a journal. Keep a dream journal by your bedside table, so that you can write down dreams that you remember straight away. And don't be fooled into thinking that just because you've woken up in the middle of the night and remembered a dream, that if you go back to bed, you'll remember it when you wake again in the morning, because you most likely won't. So if you do have a disturbed sleep, you would be wise to write the dream down, even if it's just some basic notes that it takes you a couple of minutes to jot down, before you then go back to sleep, because otherwise that information will be lost. So start with that. Start with actually remembering your dreams. Try and avoid any technology, any screen time before bed, because social media in particular really will leave your dreaming ability shot. We dream less because we spend so much time on TikTok. There have been studies that have shown that. So be careful about, how you alter your brain activity with technology. And once you've jotted those dreams down, you can then undergo the work of interpreting them. And you would be surprised what kind of nuggets of gold, of golden wisdom you can obtain through the interpretation of dreams. So I can do a video on the interpretation of dreams if that's something that you're interested in. Leave your comments if that's something that you'd be interested in. But for the time being, try that first step. Try to just remember your dreams each night. And we can go from there. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you find this topic interesting. Like the video if you did like it. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, and of course, hit that subscribe button to support my work. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.